Hello, and welcome to the Deep Cut Fandom podcast. I'm your host, Victor, here with my
Ro-
co-host.
Robert Shum, aka Shumwell, and we're going to do like a special recording where we're going to be going outdoors watching the Thunderbolts movie later today.
That's right. So right now, we're just gonna give our initial thoughts, impressions, ideas, expectations for this movie.
Right,
Then we're gonna go watch the movie. Obviously, go watch Thunderbolts or not, depends. I don't know. It's up to you.
right.
Either way, Rob, uh, what do you hope for or expect in this movie?
Well, uh, I want to touch upon the hot topic that everyone keeps bringing up, which is the Taskmaster. Because if you notice, she never shows up, and they don't have that much footage of her in all these trailers we've been seeing.
Right.
So a lot of people are speculating that she might die early in the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that too, but I keep saying this. I actually said this in the last episode where something would make me happy that maybe when she dies that the male Taskmaster might show up, because like I'm a huge fan of Taskmaster. I know that a lot of people were upset
Yeah.
that Taskmaster was gender swapped. So it would make me laugh if all of a sudden we see the male Taskmaster show up. So
Right.
and again, I need to point this out. I have nothing against gender swaps, but it's just I feel in the instance of Taskmaster, I think I prefer it to be a guy
Right.
in this
Right.
instance. So,
Right. Um, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you that Taskmaster may die, but I know part of the reason why a lot of people have thought this also is because she didn't show up for that chair watch thing for Doomsday. Like
Right.
everyone but Taskmaster showed up. So
exactly.
knows?
So there's a speculation that she's gonna die. Either if they do my idea, I would be pleasantly surprised. But I think we all can agree that she might die in the movies.
yeah, or maybe they just kind of chose not to put her in there yet, and she will be there. Who
Right,
knows?
Right.
That's why we're gonna go see Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
partially.
and then the other expectation is that they keep, when it comes to Thunderbolts, they keep pushing on that asterisk.
Yeah, that's a huge thing
That
that they've
little
done
star in the corner of the
since,
title.
since like the beginning of the announcement of this movie.
Right.
Like, there's a reason for the asterisk.
Yeah, they even have a poster where they have the asterisk
Yeah.
and having all the characters like posing around it. So
Oh yeah, I didn't see that one.
yeah, it was a recent one.
All right, I'll try and pop it up
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, all right, cool. So
But what do you think that? I just want to touch upon it. What do you think that asterisk means?
I think that asterisk is maybe like it's like maybe them saying, oh, this is a tentative name, you know. Hopefully, like maybe they might be running under the name of like the Mighty Avengers or the New Avengers.
Well, that was the thing. I remember a lot of people are speculating is that the actual title is the Dark Adventures,
Could be that too.
which
Yeah.
kind of makes sense with since all the characters they got are pretty much assassins to some extent, except maybe U.S. Agent.
Right, but he's very much a dark Captain America.
Right.
And then like I mean if you want to go with like
Oh, by the
Cold War era type thoughts, like Red Guardian is like the Russian Captain America.
right,
So,
yes. But then again, I think we need to bring up the whole thought about what's his name? What's his real name? U.S. Agent.
John Walker?
Yeah, the fact is they never promote him as U.S. Agent.
That's a good yeah. I was
They didn't
thinking about
market it. They didn't market it
Yeah.
in the trailers or any of the
So do you think they're just using the name John Walker to sort of like cross co-brand with like Johnny Walker Tennessee whiskey? I don't know. I like it with Dr.
I
Pepper.
have theories, but it's interesting that they're not really referring him as U.S. Agent.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand because that's such a cool name, U.S. Agent.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I thought it was kind of cool when they did that in the comics. I mean, it was a little. I was like, oh, okay. Like, he's kind of like a not so great version of Captain America, but he's still a good guy,
Right.
So I don't know.
Exactly. So that's just something I'm wondering about. That are they going to call him by the name that he was presented as in the comics?
I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know.
But you know that the thing I keep hearing about is that a lot of people have commented that the Red Guardian, she brought him up, is that his character is expected to steal the show. So I'm wondering if we're going to get that vibe too.
I know this much because I've watched the interview with the cast of Thunderbolts.
Yes. The actor, right?
I'm trying to remember his name, but I'll just put it up here.
Yes.
Either way,
you know who we're talking about.
He improvised a lot. He improvised a lot. So yeah, he might end up stealing the show. But from what I understand, also it's like they kind of like tweaked it a bit. So it's dark, but it's also got some humor to it.
Yeah.
Which I know some. I don't want to say fans because obviously if they're bitching about the humor, they're not fans.
Right.
But some viewers don't like that. Like me personally, I don't mind because I would always rather watch a comedy over a drama. But some people don't like that kind of stuff. So I have high hopes for this movie.
Well, my thought is I'm not against having comedy.
Yeah.
But I don't want comedy to be the dominant portion of the movie.
Oh no, of course. Yeah.
I kind of want a healthy balance because there's some movies I like that are very dark.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of comedy sprinkled throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And that's like enough for me to make the story flow. So that's what I'm expecting with this movie as well. That the comedy is not going to dominate the movie itself. So.
No, I don't think it will. I mean, because you're dealing also with like Sentry, which is as a character and like knowing his comic history does not really lend well to a huge comedic overtone.
Yes.
I mean, you can have some levity in it.
Yeah.
But to like just be outright comedic, no. That's more like an Ant-Man shtick.
Right.
And it's only because it's Scott Lang.
It's not only that, but I'm curious to see how they're going to present the Void.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Is that a spoiler?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Let me phrase that. His name is Bob, right?
No, yeah.
So, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm wondering how they're going to portray Bob's power set from the movie. Because I have an idea how his powers move in the comic books. So I'm wondering how his power set is going to move in how they're going to present it in the movie. Aside from his flight, his strength, he does have another power set.
Well, let's not mention it here because we don't want to spoil anything for anyone. If you haven't read the comics,
yep.
You know, we don't want to spoil that.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I mean, it's always interesting to see how certain characters are portrayed versus their comic version. I think that's part of the fun of watching these movies. If you ask me.
But not only that, I'm curious to see how they're going to present the father-daughter relationship between Yelena and
Red Guardian.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So I love Yelena in the Hawkeye series.
Yeah, and have you watched the Black Widow movie? Because they did address a lot of that in there too. So
that's where they introduced her.
Yeah.
So I liked her there, but I think she got fully fleshed out in the Hawkeye series. You got to see her. You got to see a little bit more of her because.
Yeah, they pushed her out a little bit more. I don't feel like it was as much though as in Black Widow.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, they did flesh her out a bit more, which is totally cool.
Right. Well, what I mean by fleshing her out is how she interacts with anybody who's not a family member.
Okay, I gotcha.
So that's when I felt she was more realized, in my opinion.
No, if that's the case, then yeah, I agree with you.
Because when you're around your family, you kind of act like a different person. So.
A little bit, yeah, sometimes.
So, but just like I thought she was great in Hawkeye. So I'm looking forward to that. See what they're gonna do with her. Interacting because it seems like they're presenting her as the leader of the group.
Maybe? I don't know. I feel like it might be Red Guardian.
I kind of see Red Guardian as like the mentor of the group.
But he's in. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
I just look at him as a supporting player to Yelena.
Right.
or maybe not. Maybe she's not the leader of the group, but I feel like she's going to be the focus of
Like
it.
or like a field commander, let's say.
Right. Well, not a feel. Okay.
Yeah, because like perfect example, GI Joe.
Mhm.
Duke is only a first sergeant, but on the field, he usually takes charge unless Hawk shows up.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Hawk is a general.
Right.
He gives the orders, and Duke, carries out his orders on the field.
Right. But what I meant is that maybe she's like the main character of the movie. Because like like how in some characters
I don't know because like I feel like there's also Valentina.
Valentina, the Julia Dreyfus
Louis-Dreyfus character, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of see her kind of like the Nick Fury of the group, where she's in the
Or
background.
like the Hawk
Right.
of G.I. Joe, yeah. No, yeah, totally. I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not only that, Ghost. Like I don't know I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Ghost.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I haven't seen that much talking about her in the trailer. Like she just has moments, but like it doesn't stand out off the top of my head. So
yeah,
because like the characters I see talk a lot is John Walker, the Red Guardian.
Then again, don't forget Bucky's on this team also.
Exactly. Maybe he might be the leader of the group.
Maybe, and the only reason why I mentioned Bucky is because I realized Bucky doesn't talk a lot in those trailers. You see Bucky,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really talk a lot. But then again, he's not really known for talking. At least not once he's the Winter Soldier.
He's basically the Snake Eyes of the group. If you want to use G.I. Joe,
Sure, yeah.
like he doesn't talk, he do.
Yeah, he just does things.
He just does things. So
Yeah.
he doesn't say anything. He just does what he needs to do. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. Any other thoughts, ideas, theories? I guess I don't know.
I'm trying. Okay, I think we're at that state where a lot of these Marvel movies, the way they're designed, is that they seem to be setting up for the next movie. So
Yeah.
I hope we don't get a lot of that. I hope that this movie stands alone and be its own thing. That's just me.
I've been kind of spoiled in that sense.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know any exact details, but I know it's sort of.
Okay, so
I mean, it was the same thing with Captain America, New World Order.
Yeah.
Or Brave New World. Well, I think it was Brave New World, right?
Brave New World
At the last minute. NWO.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember last I remember was Brave New World, but
Yeah, it's Brave New World.
in a way, I feel that movie stands by itself. From my perspective, the story was so open that it could be anything.
I wouldn't say it was open, but it was kind of a deep cut.
We should put a title every time we say it. But I get what you're saying. That it's like very. That story was like it could be about anything. The way the character. I don't want to say who the character is for spoilers, but what he said.
I think we all know who he's talking about.
Yeah, but it could have been Kang. I mean, that could the stuff he said could be
Yes,
Kang.
in theory, it could have been Kang, but
Right.
we all know what happened with Kang.
Right. But
Nothing.
in any case, like, I'll rephrase what I said before, is I hope the movie stands on its own. Even with all the stuff.
Even with the stuff leading into the next movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So
I mean, I don't think Fantastic Four is going to be like that, but
yeah, but
you know what? Then again, you know what? Thinking about it a little bit more as we're talking, like, I think you know what? I think it may end up standing a bit on its own. Like, I know there's definitely a stinger at the end, so this isn't a spoiler really, but stay to the end. I mean, really, if you're watching a Marvel movie, you always should be staying to the end.
right. Yeah, for some reason that kind of conditioned me to do that for all movies. For me. So.
Yeah. I was just trying to think, like, oh wait, do I do that? But no, I think I do that mostly only for Marvel films. Or like say, I think I stayed for like John Wick 4.
Yeah.
I stayed watching.
To see if anything good came out in the end.
Yeah. I don't think it did though. I think it just kind of went to the credits. I don't remember honestly, but it's a good film. So go see John Wick.
Back to Thunderbolts. So,
Yeah.
Closing thoughts. I hope we enjoy. I hope everyone gets a chance to shine in the film.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Especially Taskmaster, regardless of how much screen time she has or how little screen time she has. I hope, as a big fan of Taskmaster, that
You don't like the female udon version of Taskmaster?
that's the female udon. Oh, right, because it's based on the udon design. I don't know, man. Like I'm so used to Taskmaster. I was joking. I'm so used to Taskmaster being a guy.
I know.
It's like the same with the Silver Surfer. That's another story.
Gender bend aside, like I do kind of like the original Taskmaster better.
Yes.
Not to say that there's anything wrong with the udon version. I just like the original costume better.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper look,
yeah,
the skull and all that stuff.
Even though he's wearing a lot of white.
Well, you know, like a pale rider.
Fair point. Pale
rider.
He just doesn't have the horse.
Well, I will say that I'm happy that all the scenes they have her in, and she's wearing a damn hood, because that was always been a pet peeve from the Black Widow movie, is that she had the hood once, and all of a sudden, throughout the rest of the film, she had the hood off.
Wasn't she in one of the Captain America movies?
Taskmaster?
Yeah.
No, she only showed up in one film.
Okay, disregard what I said, guys.
Yeah. But in any case, I'm hoping we get a good film.
Yeah, me too.
Regardless of my expectations, regardless if they don't meet it, or in any case, I'm expecting to have fun with this film.
Yeah, I just to throw in my thoughts, because not that there's anything wrong with it, but you've been talking a lot, and giving a lot of your ideas and thoughts and expectations. I feel like this film, from what I've understood, a lot of people have liked this film. They say that it's kind of going back to more classic Marvel, where it's a good, solid film.
Right.
So I feel like it's gonna have a good balance of like action, a good balance of comedy, and it's gonna be kind of dark because you're dealing with Sentry, who, Sentry is a character with a lot of mental issues, which is always something that one should not disregard.
Yep.
Mental health is always important.
Strangely enough, I'm not a big fan of Sentry.
I'm not a fan of him either, but I do like him only because of the sense that he's an analog for Superman in the Marvel Universe. Granted, there are numerous analogs for Superman in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But I like the twist on Sentry. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't read the comics or seen the movie yet, so I'm not going to really say what. But there is a twist to Sentry, and it's a very interesting twist, which I dig. I dig it. You know what I'm talking about.
I get what you're saying, but I don't want to like go into a rabbit hole on this. But
that's fair.
I'm not. I was just never happy with the execution of those ideas. I'll put it that way.
Well, okay, that's fair. Who knows? Maybe they'll change things up here.
Yeah, that's the thing I want to bring up. A lot of stuff when it comes to Marvel films versus Marvel comics, there always been a lot of ideas that I hate in the like on the phrase. Let me take a few steps back. There's certain storylines that Marvel comics do that I just wind up disliking completely.
Okay.
And they present those ideas in the film, but they don't create a film version of it, and I end up liking it. Because, like, say for example, I was never a big fan of the Civil War, the comic book series.
Really?
Yeah, I was never a fan of it. I hated the ending.
Okay.
And everything. But having said that, watching the Civil War in the movie version of it, I thought it was one of the best films we had.
I mean, it was a Captain America movie, and yes, it was really damn good because I happen to like most of the Captain America movies.
Yeah, I think it was a perfect trilogy of Captain America.
Well, let me rephrase that. It's not that I like old Captain America films. I shouldn't say I like most of them because I like them all.
Even the one in the 80s? Or
I meant from the MCU. And actually, those aren't too bad. I mean, come on, he had his shield on the motorcycle. How awesome is that? I'm talking about see through it.
How about the other one where he wore the crash helmet?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that one?
It's the same one. He wore the helmet because he rode a motorcycle.
Right.
I mean, he technically always rode a motorcycle.
And the other one made by John Woo? You remember that one where he fought the Red Skull?
That wasn't a John Woo film.
Oh, I thought it was a John. Okay, I'll take that back. But anyways, I always thought it was a John Woo film. But, and, oh my god,
I mean, I would have understood if you said John Woo for the first Hulk movie with Eric Bana.
no,
But that was Ang Lee. That was Ang Lee.
are you stereotyping? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I was about to say, dude, that's like a quarter of my people right there.
I'm just
goofing
around with you. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like you think, like, for some reason, I don't know, maybe I'm having the Mandela effect on.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was just a brain fart.
Yeah, but anyways, going back to the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
We get tangenting, like we're talking about Captain America and all that stuff. But anyways, back to Thunderbolts.
Right. I knew we were going somewhere with Captain America, but whatever.
Right. Let me collect my thoughts. You were talking about the whole idea about how they take stories.
Civil War. I did not like Civil War as much as the comic story.
Right.
Like it touched on certain points, but I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't as clearly defined, like what the argument was about.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And
it was a little bit more gray, a little bit less black and white. And the comic storyline is a little bit more black and white.
Right. Yeah, but it is. But when it came to the movie, I felt like they trimmed out all the fat and made a great idea.
I mean, it was a good movie,
yes.
Regardless. Yes, it was a good movie.
But anyways, that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, because I was never a fan of the Iron Spider. You know, the Spider-Man with the...
Yeah, I feel like they went to that too quickly in the MCU.
Yeah, but the thing was, I kind of like what they did with it versus what they did in the cartoon. I mean, the comic book, yeah. Or even, I'm not a big fan of the Hulkbuster, but I thought they did a good job with the Hulkbuster.
Well, but Hulkbuster armor's been around for a couple of decades now.
Yeah, but I've never been a fan of it.
Okay. I'm trying to make. I mean, I know it goes as far back as at least the 90s because they had the Hulkbuster armor in the 90s Iron Man show.
Yep.
And they even made a figure.
Yep, I even read the comic where they introduced the Hulkbuster.
Okay, so you totally know about it.
Right.
Still didn't like it, huh?
Yeah, no.
That's fair. Not everyone likes everything, and that's fine.
Yeah, but anyways, the point I'm trying to make is a lot of stuff they bring to the comic books, when they translate it to the movie, I end up liking it. Maybe because they did a fresh take that I didn't think about.
Yeah.
Or they put it at the right moment where it felt like it counted. So,
right. Yeah,
okay. And that's what I'm hoping for the Thunderbolts. That I hope we get a good movie. So.
I mean, yeah, I always hope we get a good movie too. Eternals, I'm looking at you.
And maybe the Marvels.
Marvels was okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's the greatest thing ever, but like on a scale from 1 to 10, I thought it was like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah,
it was fine.
It was average.
It sort of moved certain things along story-wise, but like
it's
a lot of fat on there to get the movie moving along a bit.
Yeah.
It was okay. I mean, it was.
Though I love Kamala Khan.
Yeah, I love Kamala Khan too. Honestly, I was hoping she'd show up in Daredevil, because spoilers if you haven't watched Born Again, and also why haven't you watched Born Again yet?
Sorry.
Oh wait, you haven't watched it?
No, I don't have Disney.
All right, never mind. But yeah, I was hoping she would show up in Daredevil, and there's a reason why she shows up. I was hoping she would show up in Daredevil.
Okay, I'll think about that when I get a chance to watch it.
Yeah. If you remember like all the characters in Miss Marvel, then you'll know why I said what I said. And if you watched it out there, leave a comment.
Yeah.
And share your thoughts with us.
Yep. But anyways, ready?
Yeah, okay, let's go get let's go watch the Thunderbolts.
Later that day.
And we're back.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Rob had to take care of something, so obviously we're not doing this right after we saw the movie.
Yeah.
But it's still the same day, so.
Yep, and the movie's still fresh in our heads and stuff. So.
Exactly. So what did you think, Rob?
Well, let's just get some. Let's just put it this way, because like whenever I talk about these movies, I like to talk about the negatives first, then after that the positives, and then after that have a conversation. The reason why, and when I say negatives, it's not like enough. It's just little pet peeves and criticisms, just to get it out of our system and stuff. Like because there are some things that bug me about the film.
Okay.
Like Like for starters, by the way, just gotta point this out. This is also a spoiler discussion.
Oh, right. So
So
yeah, we're gonna have spoilers. So if you don't want to get spoiled, just jump to whatever point that we're gonna timestamp for
right,
the overall general, or we could just do that now.
right. Spoilers.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, like this is one of my big pet peeves. It has to do with the quote unquote villain of the story, which was Sentry slash Void,
Right.
and I felt they did a lot of say, not show, with him. And what I mean by that is because they kept talking about how he could be a threat because due to his mental health
Mm-hmm.
issues and stuff, based on his records and stuff.
Right.
So, and they kind of made him play like the whole innocent person, like, oh, I don't know nothing, or what am I doing here, kind of thing, right? And again, this is just my perception of it
Mm-hmm.
or what I picked up. And I wish they had moments where I don't know, maybe like a moment where they showed there is something brewing with him,
Mm-hmm.
just to give us an idea of just to give us like an idea to prepare for when he would turn. Like like the way I could describe it is like I wish they show like maybe like moments of his past, kind of like what they did with everyone else, like John Walker, and is that his name? John Walker,
Yeah.
U.S. agent. Like they showed his past with his about his wife and
Right.
kid, and like the past of Yelena with her experience with one of her classmates. Like I wish I would like it if they showed like his past just to give an idea to prepare us when he turns and stuff.
Right. I mean,
So
yeah.
that's just one thing that bugs me about. And the other thing I would say that bugged me a bit was I felt there were moments where I felt like they kind of did like a bunch of like jokes that I feel they could have edited out because I felt it kind of broke the flow of the story. And like one of the jokes that kind of bugged me was the whole bit where we saw Sentry's past. I mean, when they actually got a chance to show his past, that they showed this moment where he dressed like a chicken. I'm like, it when he had him traveling to
Right.
his whole his whole personal experiences
Right.
to when we were at this point in the story where we're inside of his mind and they talked to his abusive father, and then all of a sudden they went to this place where they show like this chicken with that dancing arrow, and I felt since at that point in the story we are kind of like in a point where we were talking about where I didn't think we needed a joke to. I felt the joke kind of broke the flow of the storytelling. And let's see. Oh, and the other thing I felt that mm, I I felt like the whole concept of the void. I wish they brought it up a little bit more because I felt like the void just came out of nowhere. And I mean, like let me like the movie didn't present the void in the begin like talk about the void before because like it just came out of nowhere for me. Like I know who the void is because I've read the books, but it's
Right.
just I feel as a movie it should have introduced it should have like said they mentioned the void, but they didn't mention it as kind of like a second personality that was going to take over later on. Like I wish they like maybe if Bob were to talk about things where like there are times when like maybe having like a one line or a line mentioning that sometimes he likes to be somebody else or something to that effect. Like, but those
Uh,
are my pet peeves.
I mean, I
So
get what you're saying about that, but I mean, it kind of was um mentioned, obviously through exposition.
right.
Like with the assistant Mel, she was saying, like, oh, like he has issues,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it can't be good. So I mean, it was kind of, it
I
was
wish there
kind
was a
of
show. That's what I wanted.
right, but sometimes, I mean, I get what you're saying. I feel like that's kind of like a personal preference thing,
Yeah.
because like I thought it was fine. You know, like
Mhm.
I thought. I honestly, other than like maybe not showing like other characters, like and what they're doing at the time, because obviously the Avengers are not around, but it doesn't mean they're not around. It's not like they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They still exist. And you have characters like Daredevil and Spider-Man still running around in New York. So like,
Right.
where are they? Like, at least give me like a 2 minute shot, or 2 second shot, or like that
Yeah.
waitress, that was at the end of Avengers. You know,
Mhm.
uh, you know, like it almost seemed like the rest of the world was devoid of any other heroes for some unknown reason. You
Right.
know,
And I think other than that, the other pet peeve I have, again, I know this is a personal pet peeve,
uh-huh.
but the fact is that the Taskmaster got took out so soon, so easily in the film. Like almost,
you,
or
you
not
know,
almost say easily. It's just
Taskmaster has always been befuddled by randomness, and I would say that during that fight, that randomness was Ghost,
right,
and I think that's why I mean, like it just made sense to me.
right.
I mean, that's
I
why
get it.
he doesn't like in the comics. He doesn't like fighting Deadpool because
Mm,
Deadpool is just so fucking random. So
yeah,
unpredictable. Like he has trouble fighting him.
yeah, but you get it. It's just I'm a huge Taskmaster fan,
I
so you
know,
can understand
but
that it hurts. It feels
you know what?
it
You got
hurts as a Taskmaster fan. So
at least you got partially sated. I mean, there are people who probably would have wanted Taskmaster to be alive.
yeah,
I mean, but it's like we said earlier today. Like the theory was that Taskmaster is probably gonna die because
yeah,
she didn't show up in Chair Watch.
right, right.
So I mean, obviously people were right. you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
or fortunately, I guess I don't
yeah,
know.
but that bums me out. So
Yeah, but I mean, you got to take the good with the bad, or the bad with the
right,
good.
right. So those are pretty much the gist of my negatives. So do you have any on
I mean, other
your
than
thoughts?
that, like where are the rest of the other heroes? Not, I mean, not really. I think it was a fine film.
Hmm.
It's got a lot of heart.
Yep. So you want to talk about the positives then?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I can't believe I forgot her name.
Yelena?
Pugh.
Who?
Yeah, Yelena's character. I mean,
Yeah.
actress like Lawrence Pugh, I think her name is.
Yeah.
I liked what they did with her. Like, I think she had like some great moments acting.
Yeah.
So that that was cool, and I think the I feel bad for forgetting his name too, but the guy who played Red Guardian, he
David Harbour. I
David
remembered
Harbour.
as we were watching it. I don't know if you heard me.
Oh, yeah, like that, he had some crazy moments. Like like one of my favorite moments was when he, where how to describe it, like where he had to like he went to find Yelena in the
Yeah.
middle of the desert,
Oh.
and she was so embarrassed, like kind of like saying, "Oh my god, it's my dad" and stuff. And he's like, you see the scene where he's like in the car and he gets out of the car and he's like, Yelena, Yelena,
Actually, you know what?
it's your dad.
Going into the negative criticisms. That's actually one thing that kind of bugged me.
Ah,
Because it's like obviously they were in a desert, which means they were probably somewhere out in the southwest.
yeah,
Um, where was Alexei? Like, where did he drive from? That like, because like maybe I'm just mistaken, but wasn't he in New York?
he. Let's see. I think he said Baltimore,
Oh, that's right. You're right. Baltimore.
right?
He
Because remember the little joke he
still.
said?
Yeah, no, you're right. Because it's like but Baltimore's across the street. Is basically what he said.
Yep, yep,
Right.
yep.
Right. So if he's in Baltimore, which is still the East Coast, not New York, but the East Coast,
Hmm.
right? How the fuck did he get his limo into the desert? Because there had to be like Nevada, Arizona, some state that has deserts, which, like I said,
Right.
Southwest.
Yes.
How the fuck did he get his car there? Because that was his car.
Yeah, it's
That
his
was his
limo.
limo. Other than that, yeah.
Mm.
And I might remember some other things, but I think for the most part, I think
Right.
that was the one thing that kind of bothered me about
Yeah. Yeah.
the movie. Um, but going back to the positive, yeah, I like that. Even though not every character was still like totally fully developed, I feel like they were at least developed more so. Um,
Hmm.
and
Like Ghost.
yeah, like Ghost. She definitely kind of got some more character building in this. So did
Hmm.
John Walker.
He wasn't called a U.S. agent.
No, still not called U.S. agent, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed. There's like an A on his back that's kind of like blended into the star.
Okay.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it again to see that.
yeah,
So
yeah. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of good scenes. I mean, just the way the movie starts, dude, it's like so cool. Like she
yeah.
just kind of jumps off the building and parachutes into like the laboratory and everything. I was like,
Right,
that's
and they did.
cool.
Yeah, and they did. That's the other thing I really enjoyed about the film is that I don't think there was any. If there was green screen, is very minimal because like a lot of the shots they did was all natural lighting for what I've seen. And
I wouldn't say there was any green screening, but like
right.
there was definitely like some CG work. Like obviously, Bucky's arm,
Hmm.
um, and like any obviously things with Ghost. Uh, I don't think there was anything else because like I actually watched. It was an interview with Florence Pugh, and she actually did her own stunt. Like she
Mm.
actually did that stunt, like
Yeah,
when
the
she jumped
dive.
off the building at
Yep.
the
Yep.
beginning.
Yep.
That she did that for real.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I read. I've seen it. I read it somewhere in an interview and stuff.
mm.
But when I say the thing is like one of my well, I've started to learn more about green screen,
Uh-huh.
and when it comes to green screen, they have to have like a certain type of lighting so you can capture so that it can help separate it from the green screen, right?
Right.
And it's a type of lighting that makes everything very static to a degree. So,
What do you mean by static?
well, not static, like samey. I don't know if that's the right word. Like all the light has to be the same. So there's like zero. They can't experiment with actual lighting.
Okay. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying.
Right. So like when you saw the film, like you actually had lighting where you could saw the reflections of the yellows when they're like in daylight,
Hmm.
or there are times when they had like when they were using like fluorescent lights, so you saw like all these highlights of light on their face on their skin and stuff.
Right. Uh,
So like
yeah.
I think that's something that I really enjoyed was that the filming like where they did a lot of on set filming and stuff. So
Yeah,
and
for sure.
and I kind of liked it, when they did the whole bit where Yelena, they first introduced her, that they had like kind of like a one shot where where she did all of her moves, but they did like an overhead shot, and that they did the way they lighted it was that you saw all these flat shadows, which was kind of like a nice what do you call it uh preview of what's going to happen later in the film, since one of the one of the Void's power sets is that he could turn everyone to like flat
Yeah.
shadows and stuff.
I think the word you're looking for is foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Or
Yeah,
foreshadow.
but
To foreshadow, yes.
yeah, but then I would have said shadow way too many times. Like it was foreshadow. With all these flat shadows, they were foreshadowing the
Yeah,
shadowing.
it would have made sense in the context.
I get it, but it's like one of those situations where if I had a drinking contest for that line, I think I would have been drunk after the end of the sentence.
Dude, if you were drunk, I don't think you would have been able to say that sentence.
Yeah. but yeah, like I thought. Let's see, like the other thing I thought was cool was let's see, but yeah, like oh yeah, Bucky, like that scene where he saved everyone with in the limo
Oh
where
yeah, yeah. At the
with the
beginning,
motorcycle,
yeah.
and he was using that disc launcher from the first film he appeared in.
That's
I don't
cool.
know what you call a mine launcher of some sorts.
Uh, Either way, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and
What
then
about it?
And I thought that was awesome. And then they had that scene where he took one of their shotguns. Like there was just so many
Oh
style points in that,
yeah,
and he took the shotgun and he kind of did like a flip with the shotgun.
yeah,
And granted, it's not the exact way that the other film did it, but like it reminded me of the Terminator 2 film where Arnold Schwarzenegger had that shotgun and he did
yeah,
like a flip with the shotgun. Granted, the way he did it, they both did it was different, but
yeah,
it's just the whole set just made me remind me of that
yeah,
of that scene. So
yeah. Overall, that whole action sequence was just like amazing, awesome.
yes,
Because like it took me a minute to realize like, oh wait, that's probably Bucky. Because I'm like, who the
right,
fuck is that?
yeah, because like they had that whole bit where Yelena was getting so annoyed that she actually went out and took her little
Oh,
pistol to
pistol,
shoot,
yeah.
and all of a sudden the
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 truck,
the, the, the
yeah,
truck
just
just
flips.
exploded, and she
Yeah,
was like, "Was that me?" Like,
like she knew it too. You could tell by the look on her face. She's like, no, wait, that wasn't me.
right.
Uh,
And I think what's kind of funny was I think we commented on it we were watching when we watched the credits. Was I thought it was kind of interesting that this film had like at least 4 people that are like variations of the Captain America character, the super soldier character.
right. There was Red Guardian, obviously John Walker, the U.S. agent,
Right.
Bucky, and oh right, your favorite Taskmaster.
Yeah, Taskmaster. And I thought it was kind of cool that when they had a moment where Red Guardian and Bucky, I mean, well, Winter Soldier, they have so many names, man.
Whatever, dude.
But
I know
yeah,
what you
but
mean.
yeah, but when they had them two sitting in a truck, they were like kind of comparing notes on the
Well,
serum.
it was more Alexi than him, but yeah,
He was like,
that
"So
was
what
pretty
serum
funny.
did you take?" And then Bucky was like saying, "Oh, I got it from Hydra." And Bucky was, and
Standard
then Red Guardian was like, "Ooh, you got the fancy stuff."
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Oh boy, it was a good film.
Yeah.
And yeah, like granted, I could see a lot of parallels with it looking like Suicide Squad to a degree, but it's just I felt they did enough to stand on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely. I mean, Suicide Squad also was a bit more like there was.
Actually, before we bring up Suicide Squad, let's clear up which version we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Which version are we talking about?
not the James Gunn one, the one with Will Smith and
Oh, yeah, that was like super serious compared to this one.
right.
That had its good points, but it also had a lot of bad points. I mean, it was honestly, I barely remember most of the movie. You know,
Well, there you go. So
exactly. Uh, if that isn't a
because
scathing indictment of how good or bad that film is, I don't know what is. You
hmm
know.
hmm But the other thing, the the other thing is like Julia Louise Dreyfus character Defontes.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
DeFontaine,
Defontaine, yes.
Miss
The
DeFontaine.
man, she was so scheming and conniving,
Yeah.
and that because like her whole bit was that she was so obsessed to like create like she wanted to like just try to get the public on her side by creating like the perfect superhero kind of crap. And
Yeah. Halfway through.
yeah,
Yeah.
and her plan was to get Sentry to be her guy, and the thing that made me laugh was when the Thunderbolts showed up, that they were like saving the city from Sentry's attack.
Right.
That they ended up being what she wanted, and I was like laughing at that idea.
Oh,
And
that's what. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and the moment when they had a chance to like get their hands on her, and that she lured them to this
Into the
tunnel,
Well, it was more like just a hanging sheet, but yeah.
like a tent almost, and that she lured them into that sheet, and when they walked out, they saw all these press like just like shooting pictures of it,
Yeah.
and the Fontaine was like, look what I got. I got the new Avengers. And then I'm like, you bitch. You know?
I know. That's why I laughed so hard when Yelena's like, "We owe you now. We owe you."
Yeah.
Because she was right. It's like
Right.
they saved her ass big time.
Yep.
Big time.
That line was a saving grace because like there was a point where where the Fontaine was playing them, and the moment when that happened, Yelena was like saying, no, you're not playing me. We're playing you.
Exactly.
So, and the thing that got me laughing was that after they revealed that they are going to be the new Avengers, that they showed the new Avengers title, and they played the music, the Avengers music, and then they showed all these slides, but it's like kind of like magazine and like promotional pictures.
Right. Yeah.
Of them being the Avengers, but then they put all these headlines like saying, "Are you serious? Are you kidding me?" Like,
Yeah.
not my Avengers.
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't show the Daily Bugle because I was looking for that. I'm like, well, no Daily Bugle. They'll put the New York Post, which is a piece of shit newspaper, if you ask me.
Right.
And they didn't put the Daily Bugle. What the hell?
I assume, well, again, this is just assumption, but like again, I don't know how this copyright works. But since that's kind of a Spider-Man thing, maybe they couldn't use it because there isn't any Spider-Man character involved in this. So.
Yeah, that could be it.
I mean, but yeah, I agree. They should have had the Daily Bugle show up, but like all the stuff they did, I was like, just making you like laugh your butt off of how stupid it is. Like they did the whole the whole Queen poster. Like when
that was awesome.
I was like, no, you didn't do that. And then
they did. They did.
Then they did that other poster with the work. Was it the men at work?
We could do it or we can make it work, whatever. Like from
they
like
did.
World War II.
Yeah, my mistake. Yeah, like they did both of them. Like they did the woman poster.
Rosie the Riveter. That's
Rosie the Riveter poster where they had like Yelena do the whole "we can do it" thing.
Yeah, she's like,
the whole like we can do it thing. Like they did that. And I was like, you didn't do. Seriously. And they did the other one, which was like the poster of these construction workers sitting on a beam eating lunch.
Yeah,
I think what they call it, men at work or something, or.
I don't know. I don't know the name of that one.
But you know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That they had them all sitting on a beam, like eating lunch. I'm like, oh, you doing that one too?
I didn't even notice that one. That's weird. I must have missed that one
because it wasn't like a 100% remake of that poster,
right?
But it was enough for me to pick it up.
Okay, I guess I just missed that then.
And then my favorite,
I know the photo you're talking about.
Right, I just don't remember the title, but like maybe if you watch it again, you'll probably see
I'll
it.
probably pick it up the second time.
But the one that made me laugh was Vengers.
Oh god, that was hilarious.
Yeah, Avengers, I guess.
Yeah. Or if you want, Avengers.
Yes, or that little bit where Red Guardian shows up with that weird jumpsuit in the end of the film. And he says, hey, how about Avengers?
With the Z?
Yeah, Avengers.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but there was at some point, Elon was like, this is why we're the Avengers with the Z.
Right.
Oh, that was so funny.
He was such a goofball, man.
Well, it's funny because like for all the humorous bits that we're talking about right now, it was kind of serious and even a little dark towards the end.
Right.
Which I like that. Like I mean, I'm not saying every movie has to be like super dark and introspective, but like
it's nice to have that variety.
Yeah. And it really does address an issue that is kind of like important to address, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to like mental health and just like having somebody to talk to and whatnot. It's very important. So I like that about the film.
But they did a lot of moments that really hit the heartstrings, like the whole bit where Red Guardian like near the end of the film where all these pieces of buildings were falling down.
Oh
And then
yeah,
they had Red Guardian like look see that it was gonna fall on a girl, so he ran
yeah,
up to that little girl and it hit it and it broke in half on him, right? And he
yeah,
was like, "Are you okay?" And then before I don't remember if she said anything, but the moment they were like kind of giving us a moment of pause, she turned into a shadow. I was like, "Oh!" Like I literally
yeah.
jumped
Like
off
she
my
didn't even get a
seat.
chance to say anything, which was really like heart wrenching.
Yeah, yeah. Like like at one point I said like I was thinking, do people die when they're in the shadows in that when they turn into a shadow? But then all of a sudden we saw Yelena go
Right.
into the shadow. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, they're not gonna die, but it's just in that one moment, like I thought they were dead.
Yeah, me
So
too. Me too. So it was kind of nice to see everyone alive. After everything got resolved. But it's
right.
kind of weird because, like, I don't know if you know this, but like when the nuclear bombs were dropped on Japan,
Hmm.
there were a lot of shadows of people that were bombed that got just like incinerated, absolutely
Yeah.
gone. All that got left behind was their shadow, and I don't know why, but like when I saw those shadows happening, like it made me think of that,
Mm.
and I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like maybe it's just a me thing, but like I'm like, why did my mind go there? You know, like is Sentry and the Void like this sort of like it's almost like an analogy where like you know the Void and by extension Sentry is kind of like this like nuclear bomb of a superhuman,
Yep.
and like the fact that he's doing that is like setting off an atomic bomb.
Right. Right. Like
So
he was like just like granted he didn't kill anybody, but it's just it at that moment it looked like he was just killing people randomly.
exactly, yeah,
So, but speaking of which, the one thing I did like about how they presented the Void was that they chose to like present them solid black, with zero shading, and
yeah,
and if and you look really closely, you see like these little flickers of of white dots on his eye,
yeah,
which
for his
represent
eyes,
his eyes. So
yeah.
it was so minute that you either like you see it, but it's like so like you literally have to look for it, which makes for a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they kind of did that post production, like.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it was very cool. I mean, granted, there were a few moments I can't exactly remember when where you can kind of see a little bit of light reflecting, but it was just so pitch dark either way. It's like
Right.
I'm like, wow, they really went through the ringer, just taking out all the color,
Hmm.
to get it like pitch black, which was really cool because it definitely give it a very ethereal, out of this world sort of feel and look to it, which is really cool.
Right. You think he'll come back for Doomsday? Because they
Yeah, he had a chair.
right.
Lewis Pullman, by the way, in case you didn't know, that's Bill Pullman's son. If you know who Bill Pullman is, right? You watch
Maybe if
Spaceballs,
I've seen
right?
his films. Yes, Spaceballs.
Lone Star.
Oh, that's his son.
That's his son. Yeah,
Sweet,
yeah.
sweet.
Like, and if you think about it, like you can't really tell in Top Gun Maverick because he was in that also. I didn't even
Yep.
realize it.
Hmm.
But in this, like, if you look at him, like he looks a lot like his dad. Not like
Right.
exactly the same, but like in the eyes and certain features on his face, he looks
Right.
a lot like his dad.
Yeah. Speaking of second generation, like I didn't realize that the actor playing John Walker
Oh, you didn't?
was
Yeah, go ahead, say it.
it was Goldie Hawn
And
and
Kurt.
Kurt Russell's kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you mentioned it to me, I was like, "What, really?" But then ever since you said it to me, like I could see like
He's
the
more
traits
Kurt
of both.
Russell. Yeah, but yeah, he's definitely more Kurt Russell than Goldie Hawn. But yeah, he definitely
Right.
has traits of both,
Hmm.
which is
So
pretty
yeah,
cool.
like yeah, it took me a while, but then once you said it to me, I was like, oh, I see the ruggedness of his dad in his
Hmm.
face and stuff. So
Yeah, even a little bit in the eyes, not like 100% completely, but he has eyes very similar to his father.
yeah, the though speaking of which, talking about his character,
Hmm.
like I found it in I don't know, like it's gonna take me a while to get used to that barrette on his when they show like what he looks like now that he's an Avenger that he still wears the outfit, but he took the helmet off and now he's wearing a beret.
Oh, the beret. Yeah, you said
Yeah,
beret before, so I'm like, what
yeah. Like
beret?
I don't know, It's just like
Because like a beret's like a hair clip for girls, or
oh, all
just
right, beret. Yeah, it's
yeah.
just I get them mixed up from time to
It's
time.
fine.
So.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry
The
about it.
human language.
You just confused me for a moment there. That's
Yeah,
all.
sorry about that.
It's
But
okay.
yeah, when he wore the beret, I was like, it's gonna take me a while to get used to.
Yeah, it was a little odd to see. I'm like, wait, what? But I was like, oh, okay, whatever. He's like ex-military, so it's fine.
Yeah, but does he still like? I didn't get a good shot of his shield. Like, is it
It was
is it
still a
still
taco
bent?
shell. Yeah, yeah. That was
How do
like the first thing I looked at when they showed him.
how do you fight with that thing? I mean, you would assume he would get like you would get that thing fixed.
You know, if he was smart, he'd be like, "Take me to Wakanda. Let me talk to the government. Let me get a new shield." But
Right.
I don't know.
But then they're gonna be like saying, "Not my Captain America," and then they give him like that crappy vibranium. If there is crappy vibranium,
Maybe. I mean, right. Yeah, the shield is vibranium. Um, sorry.
yeah, I don't know.
I was listening to you and then like thinking something else at the same time. That's why.
Right. I don't. The thing is that I don't even know if that his shield is vibranium, like John Walker's shield.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either. I know in the comics it's not because eventually he gets an energy shield.
Right.
Um, and I know at some point he gets like a different shaped shield also, but I don't know what it's made out of. I know the figure has it
Yes.
from I think it was the first Captain America movie. They made a U.S. agent figure, and they gave him like a more modern, different shield. But I don't know if that's in the
Right.
comics also.
Yeah. Because the thing is, the actual shield is. Trying to remember. All right. Yeah. But no. Falcon has the original shield.
Yeah, Falcon has it. It was a whole thing during Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if you remember.
Yep. That was a good show.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty deep, very introspective.
Right. So you want to talk about we kind of mentioned it, but what do you think about the end credit scene?
Which one?
Okay, so let's talk about. All right,
Let's talk
let me
about the
see.
first one.
Let's talk about the first one. I mean, again, like the what Red Guardian. Like again, he's just such a goofball. Like one of his big things was that he wanted to be in a Wheaties
Yeah,
in a
dude.
Wheaties cereals box, and he went to like a freaking grocery store. He went next to a girl, and he was like looking at the box, and said, "Hey, you want to pick a cereal? Why don't you pick this cereal?" And he's like,
I'm
"Yeah,
on the next. The
eh."
funniest part though was like she walks away. She's like, "Thanks," and then she just like puts it down on top of some other stuff
Yeah,
and walks
in front
away.
of his face, man.
That was hilarious. But yeah. That was a very quick thing though, so I guess that's pretty much it. So, dude, that second
At least they
scene,
showed he shaved his beard and stuff. So
yeah, that was kind of weird. I'm like, why'd you like shave? But
yeah, I
whatever.
got used to because he had that beard since the Black Widow movie and stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I don't get. And
Mhm.
I think he had the beard on the Wheaties box also.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So like, why did he shave? Like, people
Hmm.
not gonna recognize him because he shaved.
Yep.
Plain and simple. You shave, people don't recognize you automatically. But dude, like, okay, just for the
14
audience out
months
there,
later, yes.
just for the audience out there, if you do not want to be spoiled on the second stinger, which is at the very end of the movie,
Spoiler.
do not pay attention to the music credits because I got spoiled by looking at the music credits
Right.
and then I kind of figured out what was going to happen more or less. And it happened like I thought it would. I mean, not 100% exactly the same, but like, like I had the general gist of it. But either way,
Yeah.
what a cool second scene, second stinger.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So you want to talk about it now, or
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it now.
yeah? So like they kind of gave like an idea of what's happening after the events of the film, which was like 14 months later,
Yeah.
and that they were kind of still trying to figure themselves out as the new Avengers and stuff.
Well, yeah, because they were
So,
getting a lot of bad publicity.
right, right. And they kind of showed like their updated outfits, except Red Guardian, but like that they had like highlights of
Oh, he
red
had
in
an
their
updated
outfits.
outfit,
Yeah, but not an updated Red Guardian outfit. He was just wearing kind of
like a
like
tracksuit.
swag,
Yeah,
yeah, like merchandise outfits and stuff. So
yeah. It was
so which I comment on like where they had John Walker with the beret
right.
and like Yelena, she had like her outfit was like kind of blue with red highlights, I think.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Right. And let's see, and in Ghost, that she had her hair done.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I can remember when it came to her look. I just couldn't get a good look at her outfit. But it's yeah, so they all had updated
outfits.
outfits, and they were just trying to figure themselves out. And then all of a sudden, they get they look they mentioned that there's something a space issue an issue with space, right?
Right.
Yep. So and
Sorry.
and then they looked at the scanners and they find out that there's a ship coming into outer space,
Mm-hmm.
and the ship had a particular symbol on it. Do you know what that symbol is, Victor?
Um, you can see
Yep.
me. It's a 4.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, it was 4. So, and they played that little music that you're commenting on, like da
exactly.
da da da.
Basically, the Fantastic Four music, because I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen now.
Right, right.
I was honestly though, I was kind of hoping they would show them, but it kind of makes sense that they didn't because they had to finish recording, filming Thunderbolts before they even started Fantastic Four. So there was like
Right.
no way they would have gotten them in there unless they decided to do it at like the last minute and just like put it in
Yep.
real quick. But
Well, that's usually how the stingers are. They're kind of last minute to some extent. So,
I guess I don't know.
like they had like a small team to put it together and stuff. So, well,
Yeah.
not a small team, but like they have like a short amount of time to put it all together.
Yeah, yeah,
For so it was, it's it kind of confirms all our speculations of what's going to happen with Fantastic Four to some extent. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is kind of interesting because I feel like that kind of it kind of spoils Fantastic Four a little bit in the sense that you have an idea of what's going to happen towards the end of the film.
right.
Now,
Well,
how you get that to that end is a different story. Like we don't know. That's I guess that's what we need to go see the movie for.
well, might I chime in with a counterpoint to that?
Mm-hmm.
Is we don't know why they left the. I mean, we don't know why the Fantastic Four left to use. I have an idea. I'm just saying that, but we don't know if that was the reason why. Is what I'm saying. Because like the speculation is that they left because Galactus destroyed the planet. I think that's the speculation everyone's having.
That's more or less it. But, I mean, I've
Right, but
also heard speculation that there's going to be an incursion that
yep,
destroys their dimension.
right,
Because don't forget, also in the trailer there is mention of pushing the boundaries of their dimension.
right.
So
So
there's that.
again, it's still very we're still in uncharted territory on what could happen and stuff. So
Yeah, but I mean, either way, we know how it's gonna end, for better or worse.
yes, yes,
I mean, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, it kind of sucks that we do know how it's more or less gonna end, but then again, sometimes we go to the movies not for the ending, but for the actual ride of how we get to the ending.
journey, yes,
Yes, exactly. The journey, not the destination.
of
I
course.
mean,
I
the
mean that's what
destination is important, but we go for the
right.
journey.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we've seen so many prequels of certain films, so
And we've
that's
read a lot of comic books, so
right, right.
there's that too.
uh, oh boy. But overall, going back to Thunderbolts as a whole, I enjoyed the film, like regardless of my criticisms and stuff. So
Yeah, no, definitely a solid film. It's almost like a street level sort of thing, though.
yeah,
Almost
because
like
everyone has like very low level power sets. So
exactly. I mean, I think the strongest people you have there probably are like Alexi, John, and Bucky, only because they have the super soldier system.
right,
You
and
know,
then Ghost was the only one who had like the fancy power set, but the
but even then, yeah, it's not like she could fly or do anything like that. So
yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. Like, I think this is like a very low level power. This that's kind of the like it's an interesting balance when it comes to these types of stories where you could tell more stories with lower level characters.
yeah,
So because like we have like which is why I'm very interested on James Gunn's attempt for Superman. Like
well,
what kind of story are you going to tell us with a guy who's as powerful as him?
well, I'll tell you this much: it's definitely going to involve the Justice League. You know, I mean,
Yep.
that looks good. It looks good. Um,
We got Crypto the dog. I like that.
that Crypto is my only beef with that movie so far. And even then, I'm pretty sure I've said it before. Like, it's a
Because it's a
minor
beagle.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
because it's
Like,
not a
he should be a
beagle.
beagle, not the type of dog that's there. I'm sorry, dog lovers. I don't know what type of dog that is, but either way, Crypto's supposed to be a beagle. But whatever. Like, I'm just glad we got Crypto in the movie. So
What did they do? They species swapped the Crypto.
yeah, I know, right? Oh,
Yeah, like we're having these discussions about gender swaps and race swaps, and we don't talk about uh, dog type swaps, man. What's
yeah,
up with that?
yeah.
That's the next argument we
It's
gotta
not a
have.
very common thing if you think about it, though. You know.
Hmm.
Um, but still, look. I had high hopes for Thunderbolts, and at very least, at very least, it met my expectations.
Yeah,
So, um, if I were to put it on like a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it like I would give it at least an 8. At least an 8.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, I might give it. I might give it a 7 because of my biases of what they did to my one of my favorite characters, which is
Taskmaster,
Taskmaster.
yeah,
But honestly, I would say it is a solid 8.
yeah. At very least, I would say.
Yeah, like
Um,
it met my expectations to a degree.
uh huh.
Like it gave me some pleasant surprises. Like I didn't expect to see the acting of Lawrence Pugh. Like she had some great moments
Yeah, yeah,
of acting. I want to make point that out is
yeah,
acting, like not the action scenes. Like yeah, she did her own stunts, which is great,
yeah.
but it's just there were moments where she was pulling the heartstrings. I'll say that.
No, I agree, and like even the scenes with David Harbour as Alexei Red Guardian, like I was like, God damn it! Like, stop messing with my emotions.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Yeah, like they were definitely the heart of the film.
Absolutely,
Their their
absolutely.
their daughter father relationship. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, familial relationships like that do tend to uh they're very good for bringing up like tender moments and also for comedic moments,
yeah,
which is why if you think about it, like a lot of the comedic moments in this film is from their relationship. Like, dude, like how many times did Yelena like cringe when
yeah. She was
Alexei
like,
was
oh
saying
god,
something or doing something?
yeah,
I'm like,
He-
that
yeah.
it just like classic, parent child relationship stuff
Yeah,
in
when
terms of
Red Guardian was
comedy.
talking, yeah, when Red Guardian was talking about the Thunderbolts, the soccer team that she was a part of when she was a kid.
Yeah.
She was like telling these random people that were trying to kill her that she's like saying, "Oh, you know that she had a teammate that pooped in her pants and stuff," and Yoletta was like, "Why are you saying this to me in front of these people?"
I know it was hilarious. Well, yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely, definitely,
It's a good film.
go see it. it's a good film. If you want to, support good Marvel movies, this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, yeah, because this is I would say with Brave New World in this film, this is a definite win for
Yeah,
Marvel.
yeah. I feel like Marvel sort of course corrected, and I feel like they're doing the right moves as far as their course correction goes.
Right, right,
So, I mean, at this point, things can only go up.
right. Yep. I, uh, yeah, I'm happy with what we got. Like whatever issues I have is not enough for me to hate the film or say this is the worst film ever or just to mock it. But
Yeah,
it, it, it just met my. It was a good film
yeah,
through and through.
yeah. And on that note, looking at the time because I know you got a thing to do, I'm gonna say goodbye.
Yes.
Uh, you know, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your parents, your brothers, sisters, friends, whatever. Like, share, and
Yeah.
subscribe. Uh, Thank you for listening to the ramblings of two something men, and be excellent to each other. And happy Star Wars Day!
Take care.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.